Tell you what, though, I feel like I'm on some sort of mad come down. So I've done 2 lots of running this morning. So me, Brad, and Max did like a 14k trail run at 7 a.m. And then we met up with the others, and we did, I think it was like a 8 or 9k run with some of the other lots. So yeah, I've done 2 lots of running. I've smashed 4 pastries before filming this. So that might be a bad idea, as halfway through the episode I might just start like drifting off because my blood sugar is through the roof. But yeah, all in all, it was a good run. Good to get some miles in the legs. As of recording this, 2 weeks now until our charity run. It's the first time that we've all met up this morning, bar a few people that couldn't make it. So that was good for all the guys and girls to finally meet up. And then yeah, we've made some small tweaks to kind of the logistics side of things. So yeah, really looking forward to just getting it done now and just smashing it out of the park. Obviously, we're still quite a way off our donation target, so I will put the link to that in the description. And if you can help out and help us to reach our target of £1,000, then that would be amazing. Anything that you can contribute will be amazing. Is 15% going to be enough for like 20-25 minutes of filming? Yeah, it should be enough, shouldn't it? Stuff it. If it cuts out, then we'll just go back to one angle. Okay, welcome back to the Recognisably Different podcast. As always, thank you for tuning in. And the main topic of discussion today is going to be nutrition. I've been having a couple of conversations with clients and just people in general. And it seems to be very common that a lot of people do struggle with their nutrition more so than anything else when it comes to wanting to change their physique and wanting to be healthier, fitter, stronger. Like, nutrition tends to be the thing that a lot of people struggle to understand and struggle to like implement as well as stick to. So yeah, those are the main. We're going to cover a couple of different topics within nutrition within this episode that I think will be really useful and really beneficial to you guys that are watching this, regardless of what your goal is. So whether your goal is to lose weight, lose body fat, or gain weight, build muscle, you can use these strategies for both. But before we dive into this week's episode, again, if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please could you do me a massive favour and hit that subscribe button. It really helps us to grow the channel, and it shows your support, and it helps to support us as well. So first topic I want to cover is how to work out your calories. So again, not many people really tend to know how many calories they need to be eating to achieve their desired outcome. Now, again, like, there's hundreds of calorie calculators on there, which like, some of them are fantastic, and you just put a couple of details in and it will give you a rough sort of ballpark estimate. But again, I just want to give you a simple framework that anyone can do. You're just going to need a calculator pretty much just to work out what the numbers are, and then you'll need MyFitnessPal as well to then just work out percentages of your calories. So yeah, what I've found is probably the easiest way to work out your calories, and the most simplest way, which will give you a rough estimate of your BMR calories, so basal metabolic rate. So that is basically just how many calories you burn off through existing. Like, if you literally just sat in bed all day, didn't move, your body would still burn off a good amount of calories. So that we burn off about 70% of calories just through that. That is the biggest chunk of our calories burned off through the day. Like, exercise, sort of daily activities, so like walking, I don't know if you're doing gardening or just fidgeting, like anything like that. And then we've got digestion as well. So your body is very small, but your body actually burns calories by digesting food. So easiest way to work that out, to give you that rough ballpark figure, is take your body weight in pounds And if you are a female, you're going to times that by 10. And then if you are a male, you're going to times that by 12. So if you're £150 female, you times that by 10, you've got 1,500. That will roughly give you what that BMR will be. To then work out what your rough maintenance calories are, you then need to times that by your physical activity levels. Now, a good scale that people use for that is between 1.2 and 1.9. So 1.2 would be for somebody that works a sedentary job. So you pretty much sit down behind a desk for the most part of the day, and you don't really get probably more than 4,000 or 5,000 steps in a day. If that's you, and you don't really get in, let's say you don't go to the gym more than once or twice a week, you would fall into that category. And then a 1.9 is almost like, would be someone like myself that's got a job that's on their feet all day, as well as then doing intense training sessions 5-6 days a week. So if you're unsure as to where you fall, I would always underestimate it. Like, if you haven't got much of an active job, but you are going to the gym 5-6 days a week, I'd probably look at maybe like a 1.5 to 1.6. But if you're unsure, always underestimate a little bit. So again, I don't know what that is off the top of my head, but let's say you're the first person and you're a 1.2, you would then do your 1,500 times 1.2. That then gives you your rough maintenance calories. And then all you do from there is, if your goal is weight loss and fat loss, I would just subtract anywhere between probably 300 and 500 calories off of that target. So again, for argument's sake, let's say you work all that out and it comes to 2,500. You would then knock 300 to 500 off of that, depending on how aggressive you wanted to be with the rate of fat loss, what you think is going to be realistic in terms of, are you going to be able to stick to that amount of calories realistically? So I would probably start at 300 and then assess on a week by week basis, and then potentially over time just decrease it that little bit more. And then if the goal is weight gain and putting on muscle and putting on size, again, let's say you get 2,500, I'd only add about 200 calories to that personally. I think a lot of people think that they need to like add another 500 on in a bulking phase. But again, from what I am aware of, a lot of the research and a lot of the studies actually show that the surplus doesn't need to be that big. Like, we're talking 150 to 200 calorie surplus is enough to really help with your muscle development. As soon as you start going higher than that, yes, you do still put on the muscle, but you end up actually putting on a bit more body fat as well. So you've just got to get that balance right between, yes, you want body weight to go up and you want muscle mass to go up, but realistically, you don't want body fat to creep up too much. So once you've worked that out, whether it's weight loss, building muscle, you'll have that figure. So again, let's say it was 2,500 again for argument's sake. This is when you take that number. So you take your 2,500. You then put that into MyFitnessPal, and then what MyFitnessPal will do is it'll give you a breakdown of protein, carbs, fats as a percentage. This is a general overview. You might potentially have to change a couple of things like percentages, but as a good starting point, I would try and stick with 25% protein, 25% fat, and then 50% carbs. That should give you a good amount of each macro to add up to your calories, and the 25% protein will ensure that you're getting enough protein in to help with your muscle building and your recovery. Regardless of whether, if you're dieting and bulking, protein should pretty much always be the same. I mean, I would argue that you probably want more protein in a dieting phase, because that will keep you fuller for longer. But yeah, for me, the only thing that changes, and when I'm helping clients with nutrition, the only thing I really change, whether they're say bulking or cutting is their carbs and fats. But again, you can have a play around with that, and the reason I say 25% protein is because you want to make sure that you can actually stick to that. Like, if you're not used to eating 160 grams of protein a day, and you put 25% in and that says 160, and you might only been eating 50, 60 grams a day, like that's quite a big jump. If you think 50% of carbs is too much, you could bring that down to 45% and then add another 5% to your fats. Or if you happen to go over on fats one day, you then pull the carbs down, and vice versa. If you end up eating a little bit more carbs, pull the fats down, and then that should compensate in a way. So yeah, I hope that all makes sense. Any more questions on that, feel free to just drop them in the comments below, and I'll happily answer them. But yeah, if you follow that framework, that should give you a very good number to hit your goal, whatever that goal is. And then in terms of, again, this is another question that kind of gets thrown around a lot, is what people don't know whether they should bulk or cut. You get people that are already fairly big, and like, yes, they've got muscle, but they're carrying a lot of body fat as well, and they then think that they need to bulk to put on more muscle, which, like, yes, that is true, but again, like I said earlier, depends how you bulk. If you dirty bulk and you're smashing all this crap, ultra processed like fast food, and you're just getting the calories in, you're gonna accumulate a lot more body fat over time than you would if you were following a better diet with like more whole foods, more single ingredient foods, fruit, veg, fiber, focusing on that sort of stuff. So it all depends on how the bulk looks in a way, but for a lot of people, like, they realistically, they probably do need to cut before they bulk, because you've got to think, if you're, I don't know, let's say if you're 20 to 25% body fat, like, realistically, you don't need to be bulking. You want to maybe, and it might only be a very short cutting phase. It might be 6, 10, 12 weeks. But I would always recommend, and again, anyone that comes to me for personal training, for online coaching, I will look at their physique, and if they are carrying a little bit too much body fat and they say to me, oh, I want to put size on me, I will always say, right, well, first off, we're going to actually diet you down and break it down into phases. And I'm going to talk about this a little later on. The phases that we break it down into is prep, build, transform. So you want to go through this prep. And I don't mean prep like bodybuilding prep, photoshoot prep. I just mean prep in the sense of putting the body in a better position to build muscle. And if someone starts with me and we can lose 5-6% body fat and a couple of kilos to get the body in a better position to then add muscle, and we can get rid of that body fat, we can go into a surplus the right way, a slight surplus with the emphasis on good foods, good macronutrients, you are going to see a lot better results doing that than you would being 20% body fat and thinking, oh yeah, I need to bulk, and you're following that whole 80-20 rule, and you're having takeaways every weekend, and it might work for some people. You are gonna accumulate way more body fat than you would if you did it the other way. And like, you see it time and time again. Yeah, you can bulk, and you can dirty bulk, you can clean bulk, and again, depending on how hard you train and your recovery capabilities, like, you can spend ages bulking and you diet back down and you don't really look much different. Anyone watching this, if you're unsure as to whether you should bulk or cut, I would argue that you probably need to cut. Doesn't have to be anything drastic. Maybe just spend 6, 10, 12 weeks getting a little bit of body fat off, and then go into a surplus and a weight gain focused phase. That's going to put you in a lot better position. You've got the whole debate of like calories in versus calories out. I suppose when you do break it down, like, yes, calories in versus calories out is important, don't get me wrong. There is a lot more that goes into it than that, and you've got to place an importance on the nutritional value of the foods that you're eating. And it's like a common, and like, again, those of you that have watched the podcast for a while, you'll know that I've been PTing for nearly 6 years now. If I had £1 for every single time a client has come into me and they've said, oh, well, I had I had a Mackey's breakfast, or I had this takeaway, but that's all I ate all day. So it was only about 900 calories. So I'm still within my calories, so that's fine. Like, if I had a pound for every person that said that, like, I won't need PT anymore. I'd be living in Dubai, living it up. And that there's this whole misconception of like people see that as a good thing because they think, oh yeah, I'm still within my calories, so I'm in a deficit. So yeah, that is not. And yes, it's true, you are in a deficit. That is not the best way to go about it. Your body is not going to be utilizing them calories or absorbing them calories as much as if you were to actually hit your target, but hit that target by eating regular 2, 3, 4 meals a day. Again, putting an emphasis on getting a good amount of fruit in, good amount of veg, good amount of fiber, like good amount of single ingredient foods. And like, yeah, you've got to think, and I put this on my Instagram the other day, like, take the time to learn about nutrition. Like, so many people just, and I get it, it's never been easier to access shit ultra processed food. You pick up your phone and you can have any takeaway delivered right to your doorstep within an hour. Like, they've never made it easier to order shit food, and that's why so many people do it. But like, you've got to put the time and effort. If you're serious about your health and you're serious about wanting to change the way you look, the way you feel, the way you perform, you have to learn these things. You need to understand how to read food labels. You need to understand what foods are high in protein, what foods are high in carbs, what foods are high in fats, what foods are high in saturated fats. Don't be like most of the population and just be lazy and just order takeaways because you can't be bothered to go out and do a food shop and actually take the time to get better quality of foods. And again, I get it's expensive, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm spending a fortune on food shopping because I'm buying better quality of food. The whole thing is just fucking backwards. I pay £4 for a tray of mango in Tesco, and you go McDonald's and you get a double cheeseburger for like, what, £1.09. Like, the whole thing is backwards. And I get it, it's quick, it's convenient, it's cheap, but it's fucking shit. So if you only take one thing from this episode, take away that. Place an importance on calories and the quality of those calories. Like, try new things. And what I'm going to do, it'll either be in the description or as a pinned comment, I'm going to put a link to a completely free recipe book. It's broken down into like a restaurant menu. So you've got starters, mains, desserts. Everything in there is tasty, nutritious, healthy meals. Some of them only take 5-10 minutes to make. Some take a bit longer. But I'm going to put that down below somewhere. If you click the link, you can download it and it's yours completely free. And that will hopefully give you some inspiration and some ideas. Tells you how to cook everything, all the ingredients. You can scan the barcodes on the picture and it'll put it all in MyFitnessPal for you. Calorie counted, macro counted. For the sake of a few extra quid, it's going to cost you per week to buy healthier alternatives that are 100% worth it than just buying cheap processed crap every single week. And this is not me. I'm not trying to be some sort of, what's his name, Eddie Abdu, that's literally like, you must eat fucking 6 eggs for breakfast every day and like you must eat no processed food. And like I say, I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't. Like I said in the intro, I've smashed 4 fucking chocolate croissants before this episode after my run. So I'm not trying to say you should only eat this. 90% of my diet consists of those better single ingredient whole foods. So yeah, don't take this as me sitting here trying to be some, you must do this, you must do that. And I don't do it because I do. But for the most part, I eat good and I eat well. So yeah, we're going to wrap this episode up here, guys. Again, as always, thank you for listening and thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please drop it a like. And remember, if you aren't already, please make sure to subscribe. It really helps us to grow the channel. And clothing should be coming this month, which is exciting. I've been working on this for the last couple of weeks now, ever since the whole transition over. So again, if you want to support the brand in any way, once the website is up and running, take a look on there, and if you like the look of something, that will help to support the brand as well. And yeah, don't forget to download a copy of the recipe book that is below this video somewhere, either in the description or the comments section. Have a good week, and I will see you next time.